So once again, Black Culture Podcast, Merle, man, it's been a while since we had an interview, and this is one that because we've been doing our short takes, but it's one we've been trying to get for a long time. Something that I'm passionate about, and this gentleman actually reached out to me, which rarely happens. So I'm excited to introduce. We got a personal trainer who's all about fitness and health, Mr. Elijah Tyson, aka Tice the Trainer. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, brother. How you guys feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. Feeling great. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So, um, I'm intrigued, as somebody who loves to work out, all about health and whatnot. But you created a mission. You created a focus to focus on the fitness, health, and wellness of Black and brown men. So let's go ahead and jump into that, man. Talk about what it is that you specifically do and how you created this movement that you're in.
Absolutely. So I appreciate that, brother. So yes, I'm the founder of the Grindtribe, with a #1 fitness and health optimization platform for Black and brown men. And so let's take it back, right? I've been a trainer certified for 8 years now, right? I was a trainer in college. But my story is actually a little bit different, right? Actually took a little bit of a break from, training after college to run my first tech business. I was a founder of a startup, and essentially, I was fresh out of college, and I was just in a position where, as you guys know, as founders, grinding it out, just really, really grinding it out. And at the time, me and my team, we were building a hard tech product, essentially like a refrigerated vending machines. And so the story behind that quickly is, I was a fitness trainer on campus. I used to carry around my protein shake salads. I went to a campus with a very big commuter student population, and I never had a place to store it. I also realized that was an issue for a lot of other students. And so I embarked on this idea one day in a pitch competition to build a vending machine that didn't sell you food. It sold you a place to store your food and keep it, refrigerated. And so it just started up as a little idea. I'm like a sophomore, I'm a junior in college at the time. And I pitched it in one of these campus business competitions, and I won a little bit of money. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And so I kept having people, approach me about this idea, students, faculty asking me, hey, when you guys coming out with that cold fridge idea? And I was like, man, this might have a little bit of, viable market opportunity. And so I spent essentially my senior year of college just bootstrapping a lot of money, doing a lot of business competitions, learning a lot about tech business, building a business and preparing it for scale. And then I'm fresh out of college. We got about 50 grand in a business bank account, and we're like, yo, let's see where we can take this thing. So I embarked on this new journey, a little bit different from my background in, training. That was always my passion. I always loved to help people, but this is a little bit of a new opportunity and something that I was new to. And so when you're in this space of building a tech company, things move very, very, very fast. And you're always wearing multiple hats. You're like the founder, the CEO, the graphic designer, the project manager. Sometimes you're the technical guy. And so I found myself in a position where, I'm wearing multiple hats, building this business. I got my 2 co-founders. We're trying to build a team. We're looking to raise money. I'm like the face kind of. I'm the guy who talks and does a lot of the pitching. And so I'm running around, the different states doing different business plan pitch competitions and all this kind of stuff. And but this is actually kind of the first time I kind of started to see, how hard it is to balance your health when you are trying to build something. And for me, it was interesting because I knew how to train, I knew how to eat right, but I was just so mentally, my cognitive load was so stretched thin that I no longer had the desire to do those things. And as a result, it started to show up in my appearance, and it really started to show up for me mentally, bro. When you're tired and when you're burnt out, you start to get a little bit more emotional. Your cortisol levels are high, so you get a little bit more triggered. And when you're running a startup and you got all these sensitive things going on, if you're not in a right fit, if you're not in a right mental space, man, it can be real easy to make decisions, make mistakes that are going to affect the business's, viability and the opportunities that you got going out there. And for me, I just found myself in a position where I was like, man, I'm grinding it out. One of the common themes that we understand in the tech community is that less than 1% of venture capital goes to Black founders, right? And so that's less than 1%. And so I was in what I call the minority founder limbo, where essentially you're trying to build a product, but you need product. You actually need money to get that product out so people can buy it. But the investors want to see that people are buying it in order for them to give you money. So it's like this limbo that you working and all you can really do is grind, right? And, you know, I'm usually in a predominantly white ecosystem. At the time, I was in Buffalo, New York. That was the tech ecosystem I was in fresh out of college. And I just kind of followed that story that my mom told me. Like, yo, you know, Elijah, you got to work 10 times as hard as a person who doesn't look like you to get what they had. Now, the problem with that story is, while it helped me develop a lot of drive and hard work, it just doesn't work when you start to really, really think high level about business. And when you're building a tech company and you have actual physical product, we have what we call your burn rate, which is essentially how much money are you going to burn before you actually start to get people or your customers to start paying for that product. And because you got a physical product, every time you make a tweak, you got to pay for physical materials. It's not just a tweak in a code. And so you got this really sensitive timeline of money getting blown real fast, not coming in enough, hustling and grinding. I just found myself mentally, man, where I was just so out of it. I started dealing with I never really dealt with mental health issues. I never really even knew what that was until I found myself in the positions where I was addicted to coffee. I was dealing with anxiety. I was dealing with depression. And I kind of see myself going this downward spiral until one day I just had to check myself like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, I'm completely, you know, out of integrity with the things that I value, which are health. And, you know, that business ended up taking a real quick nosedive because I did end up having a fallout with, you know, one of my partners right at the time that we had a very interested investor. And that investor was like our last standing leg, essentially, of like.
Before you get into that,
yeah.
Because I want that be to say, but I want to like jump in really fast because you had said something in there. And obviously you had the ultimate goal. And I kind of feel like a lot of times we burn ourselves out because we have an ultimate goal we want to get. But I feel like if we don't set certain reachable goals to get to that ultimate goal, we'll somehow mentally and physically burn ourselves out because the ultimate goal is the hardest goal to get to, no matter what it is for you.
100%.
But do you feel like you didn't set like maybe reachable goals to get there? And also like, man, who was in your corner when you was going through this? Like when you said you were addicted to coffee. And I know how it feels to get like just drained. Like you just don't want to do nothing. You just want people to leave you alone. You get irritable really quick. Like who did you have to talk to?
So that's two really good questions, right? I'll start with the reachable goals. When you're trying to build a startup, most reachable goals are sort of unreachable, right? It's like really like this just game of like just a massive amount of work. But we did set, you know, reachable goals, but a lot of those things are contingent on things like money coming in, things like you got to get the right type of talent that's going to help you build the technology that you need at the speed that you need it, right? And so the reachable goals were set and those milestones were set, but they just came with a lot of other things that have to happen at the same time, right? And so that's the answer sort of that first question. And the second question is exactly where I was going, right? When you in the tech, you know, space, a lot of people, you know, especially at the time, it's probably a little bit different now. You know, they're really, really trying to hone in on the mindfulness space, you know, especially after the last 18 months, 2 years, right? But in the tech space, everybody kind of embraced that like coffee pizza lifestyle. Like, yo, listen, it's all about work, grind, next milestone, next project iteration, slimy pizza that's cold, leftover with coffee. You do whatever you do to get it done because that's the mindset in that space. It's about speed. And nobody cares about anything else besides that. And so that's when I really found myself like out of integrity because inside of the people that was actually doing what I wanted to do, they didn't embrace the mindset around health. It was kind of just like, yeah, bro, so what? I'm fat or yeah, I'm out of shape. But like when my startup, you know, when we scale, I worry about those things later. And so there just wasn't a mindset cultivated in the space that I can actually even identify with to find these problems, let alone to be honest, I'm seeing myself as just a black dude working 10 times harder.
You know what? Can you dig into that? Because I don't think a lot of people understand the drive and the focus that people are willing to negate their health when they're working hard to achieve that goal. And the fact that you see so many people who are living unhealthy lifestyles, but they're just grinding and go, and there's literally no balance to your life at all.
And so I can definitely say, man, that it's a very common thing to sacrifice your health for the bag, for success, right? I think it's number one, especially when I see it in our community, we haven't gone through a long enough time where we've been normalizing wealth. So we kind of have a little bit of this necessary overimportance on money, right? On money and on accomplishment. And the thing about it, man, is like, it's kind of interesting because when we really understand money, like you can't really have wealth without health. Like if you really just think about it, kind of just basic level, right? But I think that when we start to get into the level of focus that is needed to build something, you know what I mean, from a platform to a business, and just how much load that you have cognitively, a lot of people put their health, it can be easy to kind of either not recognize the importance of it, or they just end up putting it in the back end of the line because it's like, hey, I only got 24 hours in a day. I don't got time to work out. I ain't got time to meal prep or throw something green on I'm just gonna eat whenever I can eat. I'm gonna go to sleep whenever I go to sleep. Those are usually a lot of the things that we don't take into consideration until we find ourselves in a position where our health is the thing holding us back in business, which is the caveat of my message, right? And that's where I got to. I got to the point where my mental health was so shot, like I couldn't have we got to a real sensitive point in the business where it's like these really, really big A or B decisions. And I'm so shot mentally, not getting no sleep. I'm addicted to caffeine, eating like crap, that we can't even come to agreements. And that's affecting the business, especially when you're in the tech space and you're struggling to get capital. If you're not able to move with speed and decisiveness, you lose. That's just the name of the game. It's it's a high speed contact sport, and it's real easy to just become a loser because you ain't put the work in, or you didn't make the right pivot. And so that's where I ended up, and I had to take a step back and really look at like, whoa, how did I end up here? I had to sacrifice my health, friendships, relationships, and I kind of got nothing to show for it, thinking that I needed to do all those things to have my focus, right? And I just, being in tech, especially as a conscious Black man, it's interesting, man, because you really start to get in rooms where you're literally seeing wealth being passed down. You're seeing people being able to have the opportunity to build something huge. Like as Black people, we don't own any single industry. And the only way that we can own an industry is to disrupt that actual market. And how do we do that? We do that through tech. Now, when you're in a space where you're seeing how these things work and you realize like, man, it's really like a struggle out here, you start to think about like, well, what do we got to work with? And I had came to the realization that, listen, bro, if I can't operate at my highest confidence and my highest mental capacity, then I'm actually a liability to the success and the vision that I have for myself. And that comes full circle into why I built the Grindtribe, because I wanted to be able to give brothers like myself the space to navigate their health, their fitness goals, their mental health while they're building something. Not think of it as, hey, you know what? I'm tunnel vision in, and I might get a little out of overweight, or I might do this, or I might put that in the back and I'll worry about it later. Nah, let me lay you down the formula of how you can stay fit, how you can feel good physically, how you can feel good mentally, so it can benefit you, the people around you, and the energy that you're putting into your project or your business or your platform. And so that's where things kind of came full circle. And I had that realization, man, that, we gotta, it's at the end of the day, it's a lack of information. If we don't, I'm saying the biggest reason businesses fail is because of a lack of capital, access, and information, right? Now, that information is not just how to run a business, but it's how to manage yourself. If you can't manage yourself, you won't be able to manage anything, especially as it begins to grow. And that's why I came full circle with my message behind my health and my training platform.
So when was the turning point for you when you actually made that switch from tech to go into training full time? Yeah, go ahead.
That's a great question. So I was around mid 2019, right? Essentially, my startup was in shambles, and I was speaking to one of my mentors. And at this point, I had a full out, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, I ain't giving up. Just still got an opportunity. And I'm speaking to one of my mentors from this accelerator called Techstars, right? And she goes, Elijah, I know you done been doing all these pitches and showing these investors this 5-year J curve, but she was like, the reality is that's not the reality for most founders. She was like, I want you to ask yourself what you're passionate about, what you value, and really ask yourself, do you see yourself building this for the next 10 years? And she just gave me a little bit of perspective to chew on. She's like, I want you to answer now. I just want you to think about it. Because a lot of times we think that we can just hop in and treat this tech business stuff like it's a career, when in reality, you might be putting in work for 10, 15 years and not seeing the results until the end of that. And I said, damn. And at the time, I really knew where my passion was, because at the time, I really started to kind of do a lot of inward reflection. That's when I started tapping into meditation and mindfulness. And it kind of brought me back to my purpose of wanting to help other people, but it brought me back to that purpose with a little bit of context and a little bit of a way that I could understand who I wanted to serve.
I think that's kind of like not just tech. I think that's life, period. Like, it's funny, like Price and I was talking a couple of days ago about how everyone wants immediate success, and that is where a lot of failures definitely in our culture come, because we on social media a lot, and we're looking at the end result on social media.
Right.
You're not really looking at the years of hard work they put in to build up their audience, build up their clientele, to build up their product. You just see the end result and you want it like that. And I think when reality hits that you actually have to do work, you have to put the work in, a lot of long nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of sleepless nights. I think that's where it comes a moment where it's either gonna make or break. You gotta make a decision. Either you're gonna go full throttle with this, or you're gonna try something else. And I think a lot of times, shout out to you, and also the people that were around you that may help to continue to push you to continue to finish that job. Because I think support system is important too. Because like I said, man, once you face reality and you realize, man, like it's work to do when you're trying to accomplish any goal. Like it just doesn't happen like that. I think that's where a lot of us revert. We get stressed out and we just be like, you know what? I don't got time for it. And I think a lot of I'm sure a lot of dreams, a lot of great ideas has been falling by the wayside because of not realizing what it really takes to get there.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, bro. Like, business is a long game. And for the most part, the people that win is the people that develop that stamina. A lot of times we dig and we just get so tired of digging. We like an inch away from the goal. But it's like, man, I've been doing this for 6 years, 7, 10, 11 years. And they retreat from it. And I think that kind of speaks to that level of sustainability, because when I really took that principle level approach to look at what I really want to dot my T's into with, you know, my business and ultimately, you know, what I want to build, what I want to share with the world, right? I asked myself that question, like, what do I see myself sustainably building for 10 years? Like something that I can be so proud to be a part of, right? And be building, that I just stay in the game long enough to win. And when we go back to the whole sustainability factor, you're not going to stay in the game if you just keep sprinting and running into those brick walls. You burnt out, you tearing things down in your lifestyle, whether it be your health, whether it be your relationships, because you can't find, I don't like to use the word balance because I don't really think it exists, but you can't really find that alignment of, you know, just a proper way to navigate these different areas of your life.
It's funny you say that, right? And this is my last thing. I know you got something to say, Price, but you talk about health. It's so easy to like not take your health serious, definitely when you're trying to accomplish a lifely goal. I tell people this all the time. Even if you're not lifting weights, man, go to the gym and just get on the treadmill and walk. And that time you just be able to get there and decompress and think, clear your mind, clear your head, like put some headphones in, whatever. Just that to me comes when health is really important, because stress affects your heart. It affects the mind. So definitely I try to tell people now, me, if I go to the gym, I'm not lifting weights. I just want to go get on the treadmill just so I can run and just think. I'm there on the treadmill for an hour, just walking, running, just to release those thoughts after a long week or a long day. So
100%.
Trying to chase a goal does, like you say, it's stressful. And I don't think people really realize that getting into it.
Yeah. And to that point, Willie, you know, it's funny, or not funny, it's sad that the number one killer in the world is heart disease, right? And in our community, I mean, I'm sure you've been to tons of funerals. And I remember going to a funeral where I was probably the smallest dude in the funeral, as far as the people who came to the funeral.
Right.
Because I'm Chris Rock said it best. He said, when you go to Black funerals, at the repast, they feed you the same food that just killed the person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And unfortunately, in our community, man, health is not emphasized. And so we got a lot of people, men and women, terrible diets, overweight, don't exercise, couch potatoes. They don't even go for walks. And it's been something that he and I have been, we discuss this on a regular. It's like, man, if we just cared about our health, we could prolong our lives. So you being a trainer and somebody who's passionate about that, what type of impact do you think that you've made, and that, you know, it'll have a domino effect on the whole community as a whole to save us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question, you know, and, you know, my message kind of exists in two segments. Number one is overall health. And then the second part is really just like performance and optimization of your health, right? We sat last 2 weekends ago, I had a retreat. It was a mind, body, spirit retreat for my community. And we were at this waterfall, and we sat down and we did what's called a body scan meditation, right? And all you do when you're doing the body scan meditation, you just get yourself in a relaxed position, right? And you just grab any part of your body, your arm, your elbow, your knee, your ankle, your calf, and you just start to breathe into the meditation. You really, really just settle your tone down and you become one with your body. And one of the biggest takeaways that after that meditation that I asked my men, what did you guys get from this? It was just, man, just this level of appreciation of my body. I never actually took the time to be like, wow, this is the vessel God gave me to experience this life, right? And so sometimes, you know, even if you're just looking at it at the forefront, our community lacks the information, but also lacks sometimes, or a lot of the times, the mindset around how important it really is. And so when I see my impact, you know, I want to make being a fit, conscious Black entrepreneur, producer, purpose-driven man the thing to be, the normalization. Because right now we're going through a lot of periods of I call it dedoctrination, right? And we're trying to change the narrative in many ways that are going to serve us better in the future. And one of those narratives is health, because we've all been in the future where it's like, you know, growing up, my grandma dealt with hypertension issues. And when I was a little kid, before we used to leave the house, he used to always remember Elijah. She used to always tell me, Elijah, make sure I grab my second purse. And I used to call her lifesaver purse. And the reason why is because she used to literally pull out full stacks of hypertension pills that were like, they looked like lifesaver gummies. And I used to call her lifesaver purse. And that was just a normal thing. And so I think that, you know, part of the way I see my impact is just creating this movement and being able to deliver information that makes this process more palatable and more feasible for people like us, right? But also like making it sexy. Like that's the reality, right? We know that trends and culture has influence on us, right? And so we traditionally don't do things that aren't narrated in a way that seems sexy. And I want to say, hey, listen, man, I want to make it the normal thing to be like, hey, you know what? I'm a busy guy, but I know the importance of my health. I know the importance of my confidence. So I'm in the gym, I'm eating healthy, I'm going on my runs, I'm doing whatever I need to be doing to keep myself in a position where I am respecting the vessel that I have, and it's allowing me to really show up 100%.
Man, it's something, because, and I know you know this, when you look good, you feel good, right? And it's like not looking good, being overweight, being out of shape, that also adds to mental health, right? So a lot of people walking around with this depressive attitude, when if they just took the time to focus on their health, it could do wonders for their mind. So talk to us a little bit about your business and exactly what it is for you. So if I'm a 45-year-old guy, I haven't worked out since high school. I've been grinding my whole life. I've been working. I got four or five kids, right? How do you get me back into it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we host coaching programs. We primarily have a premier coaching program. We host events, and we're going to be rolling out courses in the near future and et cetera. But let's take it back to where you're at, right? You're a 45-year-old man. You haven't been in shape since high school. Life has kind of gotten in the way. Common story. First thing I'm going to do is, before we step into anything physically, I'm going to assess, you know, what are your goals? That's number one. Like, do the goals that you have for your health actually align with what's important to you? Because when you're 45, you have children, you have a career or a business, your values are a lot different than who you are in high school. And so a lot of times the 45-year-old guy tries to have the same goals that he did in high school, and he wondering why there's a misfiring, why he can't get consistent, why he can't really make this change, because that's not really what you should be optimizing for, bro. Right. And so making sure that your goals are aligned to what's important to you, because I got to change your mindset first. All this change happens at an identity level. And I want you to go from thinking I'm 45 and, hey man, I want to get me some abs. I mean, abs are nice to have at 45. Do you need them? No. Do you want the abs, or do you want to feel that confident energy where your body doesn't shut down at the 5 p.m. and you can spend quality time with your family?
It's funny you say that. I actually heard some 40-year-olds say they want to get some abs, man.
Right. I spent a lot of time just hacking down your mindset. Like, okay, let's align your goals with that's what my whole ideology behind alignment is. It's about being intentional about what you value and the commitments that you take on, making sure they fall in alignment with what you value, right? The second aspect of it is I'm going to address where you at mentally. You know what I'm saying? 15, 20 years without working out, this 100% going to take a toll on your body. From a physiological perspective, if you don't eat healthy and your microbiome, your gut is not in a healthy position, your gut is your second brain. And so a lot of times people go through issues where they got brain fog, they're dealing with depression, they're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with memory loss, aggression. And it's because your gut is twisted. You've been eating processed foods and, Thanksgiving leftovers year after year after year after year after year. And now your gut is affecting your brain to the point where I might put you on my program, but you unmotivated because you've fallen into those little mental ruts or depression, because from a physical level, your brain is not able to function the way it needs to be, right? So I got to give you the goal check. I got to give you the mental health check. And that's when we start to step into the lifestyle approach, right? Where you are right now, what's the first goal? I always say I want to get guys consistent first. So if consistent for you looks like just walking, right? If it looks like going to the gym and just getting on a treadmill, if it looks like whatever that level of consistency is, if you've been at it for that long, right? I want to make sure that you're going to be jumping in that level of consistency first. And again, that's going to look different for everybody, because there might be a guy that's 45 that needs to lose, 40 pounds. And there might be a guy that's 45, like, hey, I want to tone it up. It really all depends. Everybody's goals are different, right? But once we get that level of consistency, that's when we start to optimize up for your strength. Usually at that age, you're really focused on your strength and your muscle mass to increase your body's metabolic functioning, right? To then your food and your relationship with food, right? Being able to nourish your body, get you identifying with that, what it feels like to feel good after eating, not like you want to go to sleep, right? And so these are all just, common things that we work on a habitual, in a systematic, but just a habitual way with the high level of coaching and accountability. I call myself a coach as opposed to a trainer because I host things more holistically. But the biggest thing is, hey, bro, I'm going to get you to change your habits. I'm going to get you to change your routines. And by the end of working with me, you're no longer going to identify with this version of yourself that's like, man, I can't stop eating this, or I'm too lazy, or I don't like working out, right? You're going to be a whole different person that values the things that are good for him.
So I see the picture on the back of your walls, 27 laws of hustle.
27 laws of hustle.
So I want to get into that a little bit. But before I do get into that, I do have a question. Oftentimes we grow up with this hustle mindset, hey, let's hustle, get this money. But eventually I feel like comes a point where your hustle mindset has to turn into a business mindset.
That's correct.
When you had that moment, explain that to us. Like when you had that moment of, what, man, I need to switch this hustle mindset into a business mindset. And why is it important to have that change?
See, this is why I love living in my message, because that mindset did not click until I finally start to tap into my mindfulness and my consciousness. Because why? What did that do? It gave me space. When you're in a hustler's mindset, you just like go, 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 right? Not knowing that you're moving fast in the wrong direction. Or maybe you're doing things that are not necessarily, when we talk about business, like a revenue, you're not spending your time doing revenue driving activities. You're spending your time doing stuff that you could pay somebody $5, $6, $7, $8 an hour to do, right? And so it's definitely a level of mindset. I personally reached that moment where I realized the power in presence, and that me going all the time was just a distraction from my own internal things that I had going on that I didn't want to face. A lot of us in our community, we leverage business, or we leverage the hustle and this go-go mentality to put a Band-Aid over some internal stuff that we don't want to deal with. And that's what COVID did. What COVID did, COVID tore off that Band-Aid. It was like, damn, I got shot. I thought it was a little slip. And people started to recognize the importance of their mental health. I grew up in a household. My mom, she works 16 hours a day. And I do it to take care of y'all. And so this mindset we kind of get from different places, but sometimes we don't understand that we may have little bits and pieces of traumas and insecurity that, because we want to thrive on this level of momentum and I'm busy all the time, we don't want to sit with ourselves. And and me being able to just sit with myself holistically, taking a day off, mindfulness, meditation, it just started to open up more space in my mind where I really started to look at business. Number one, my anxiety started to decrease. Most people, they want to be in that hustle mentality because they got high anxiety. You don't want to hire a virtual assistant. You want to be the graphic designer because, well, you got too much anxiety. You think they ain't gonna make it perfect. Like, you don't need to be doing that if you're trying to build this type of business, right? We got anxiety. We got all these different internal issues that we masking up when we trying to throw a little Band-Aid on with the hustle. And man, coming to that place of presence and stillness with myself not only gave me that internal level of space, but it gave me the ability to start looking at my business with a long-term mindset and with a bird's eye view. Like, there's times when I'm working in my business, and then there's times of the day when I'm working on my business. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at what's going on. What's our community like? What's our engagement like? What's our revenue like? Who do I need to hire to make these things be better so we can get to where we need to be? As opposed to, I'm just gonna keep on going and going and going and going and going. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And with that point, Willie, because that was a great question, man. In our community, how we're taught to think has a lot to do with the things that we do: health, wellness, and hustle. And I always ask my friends who, Black people are very talented. We can pretty much do anything, and we can turn anything into a business. But the most of us run around with that hustle mindset. And then when you look at people who've got businesses, they've been in business for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, they took the time to sit down, plan things out and say, yo, I'm gonna make sure that this business take care of me, my kids, and the generations after. How do we change that programming?
Man, I think we got to ask ourselves what we really want. Like, what do we really want? I think too many times do we think like next 3 to 5 years, but we don't think long term, right? There's a reason why I call my platform the Grindtribe and not Tice Fitness or Elijah Tyson Fitness, because I'm trying to build a brand. I can't scale a brand that's only attached to my face. I can scale a brand that's attached to a message and a community. And so that was the decision I had made when I was thinking about my name. And I think sometimes we necessarily think, hey, how the actions that how my actions and the way that I think about now, how is that actually correlating with the end result of what I'm looking to do? Because we live in an age of so much information where it's just like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I think a lot of us are, we don't want to find ourselves in the cubicle anymore. We don't want to stick to the same narrative of, hey, maybe I work this job that I hate, or what, we're trying to find this level of freedom. And that's great, but we got to take into context, what's the long-term play? Because when we look at wealth building, it's like, all right, you get your earned income up to the point where you can now start using that earned income to invest, and you invest in things that are going to give you a higher yield on your investments. And now you have multiple streams of revenue, which you can then utilize to build more streams of revenue. And now we start the wealth building game. But I think that we need to ask ourselves, number one, what do we really want? And number two, everybody talks about, generational wealth, but we don't talk about generational health, like physically and mentally. How are you supposed to build generational wealth if your family's still dysfunctional, right? If you guys don't have health as a value, you want to pass this business down to who with this, that, and that, but they not healthy. When people are not healthy, they don't make very good decisions. And so I think we got to start thinking about things more holistically. Like, I look at my family all the time, and when I'm in a room with my uncles and my parents. I'm talking about therapy. I'm saying, listen, hey, here's where I'm at right now. I'm 26 years old. By the time I'm 35, here's where I want to be. I'm looking to build a family business, and ain't no family business about to run if we can't get past the little he say, she say, nonsensical dysfunctions that have been normalized. So we got to work on that too. Like that's part of the 3-5 year plan. I got to get my family to a position where we eat healthy, we value our health, and we can actually have conversations with each other and help each other grow. And so we got to start really, really looking at things more holistically. But in order to do that, we got to find that calm, present place where we can give ourselves time to think, because we just don't be thinking about these things for the most part. A lot of times we don't really get the chance to really think about how can I build the wealth is a long game. And so you got to look at how we gonna stick this long game out. And it's a question, again, we sometimes we find the answers by just asking ourselves better questions.
Wow. Hey man, we got to have you back with part 2, man.
Hey man, you know me.
That was deep, man. That was deep.
Real talk.
Yeah, bro. Hey, bro. How can the people reach you? How can they connect with you online?
Absolutely. I'm on Instagram personally as Tyse, TYSE_the_trainer. We also have our community Instagram about to be relaunched at the Grindtribe. I'm also on YouTube as Elijah Tyson.
And where can we get one of them shirts, man? Because that shirt is fly.
So the Grindtribe, man. So I've been keeping the shirts for the community, but I'm getting things mapped on the e-commerce side right now, and they're definitely going to be available to the public soon. Right now, I'm just kind of doing manual orders because I focus most of the focus on the coaching program, but we're going to be rolling out a whole lot of gear, really just a whole lot of value around the message, man. And so the shirts and the gear would definitely be a part of it.
Bro, man, shout out to you. Shout out to the work that you're doing. And you're not just a trainer, you're an entrepreneur. Got multiple businesses. And I really love the fact that you're normalizing that. You say you wanted to make being successful, being fit, having your mental health intact. You want to normalize that as the standard for us, opposed to just being an exception to the rule, man. I love that. Yo, Willie, I think we're going to call this episode The Grindtribe. We got to call this episode The Grindtribe, man. So anything else before we go, Willie?
No, man. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Black Culture Podcast. If you haven't already,
be sure to smash that like button and also subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Apple, Google, and Spotify. And
also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Black Culture Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.